9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another episode of the NFL Happy Hour Betting Show. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's show, we are going to break down Week 17 of the NFL from the perspective of our favorite picks, prop bets, NFL picks, spreads, all the above. We took a couple-week hiatus just because, it's the holidays and so many moving pieces going on around the world. But with that said, I am back with my partner here, Chris Clarkson. How are you, buddy?
Oh, doing all right this morning, man. Glad to be back after a couple weeks off. Sorry we couldn't link up, but it's probably a good thing that we didn't actually put our voices down on the picks we've had the last 2 weeks.
It's been a rough journey these last 2 weeks for us in the betting world. We struggled last week overall. We went 3-5-1. On the season though, we're still doing pretty good on this overall in the season, which is kind of nice just based on if you get so far ahead, that's whenever you can actually sit down and just kind of realize, all right, we're not doing too bad. You know what I'm saying? So that said, though, we are coming off that 3-5-1 week. Overall in the season, we are 89, 73, and 3. And we are up 20 units on the year. As we do every week, obviously we didn't record last week, but we are going to recap our last week's picks, week 16, before we dive into week 17. Clarkson, I'm going to let you lead us off here with our wonderful week we had last week.
Yeah, so unfortunately I went 1-3 last week. Bills first half, -4.5. They were moving the ball up and down the field against the Bears. They just couldn't score points in the first half, and then finally turned on the Jets after halftime. I think they won, 35-10 or something like that. So that one was frustrating to watch. Myles Garrett had over 0.75 sacks. He's in the running for the Defensive Player of the Year. Andy Dalton can't move in the pocket. You think that one is going to hit pretty easily, but it didn't. My other loss was Falcons plus 7.5. I don't know. They covered pretty much every game for the first 11 games of the season, and have just fallen off the face of the earth against the spread. I don't really know what happened. I thought they'd keep that game close, at least within a touchdown. But the who was it? The Cardinals that they played last week. Yeah,
No, they play the Cardinals this week.
Okay, that's right. So it was just frustrating all around. The one pick that I did hit was Jamar Chase over 71.5 receiving yards, which I think he ended up with it somewhere in the 80s. That total seemed low to me the entire week, and that was, the one prop that I actually felt really good about. But at least we got one dub in the books.
You had the Falcons. You had a Falcons plus 7.5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they lost by 8 to the Ravens. So
yeah, that's right. Silly fuckers.
I went. Let's see here. I was trying to calculate this in my head here. My math is hard today for some reason. 2-1. I gave up pick out in an article that I wrote. Trevor Lawrence over 224.5. We're gonna count that towards the victory total. But Heineke Watson over 1 touchdown pass. For some reason, I continuously bet on Deshaun Watson, and I continuously lose money. I haven't won a single bet on the Browns since betting on them, and I've bet on them every single week since he's been back. So that's been pretty cool.
We haven't hit a bet because I've bet Nick Chubb over rushing yards a couple times since he's come back, and we haven't hit a Browns bet period since he came back.
Yeah. There was a stretch for like those two out of like 3 weeks that you had bet the Chubb over total, and he had hit it every single time, and now the Browns for some reason can win games, but they cannot like get anything over what we need them to do. I had the Raiders over 1.5 total touchdowns. The Steelers defense is not that great. I'm sorry. And for some reason, when you have Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, Darren Waller, and Hunter Renfrow all on the field at the same time. Finally, you can't score more than 10 points, which makes absolutely no sense.
Well, I guess there's a reason why Derek Carr got benched and now he's not with the Raiders anymore.
Yeah, that still doesn't make any sense either. I can't even. The Raiders +3 over the Steelers. That was the tie for the week. They lost 13-10. That's pretty self-explanatory. Joe Burrow over 1.5 total touchdown passes. I told Clarkson all week that I felt this number was ridiculously low. I didn't really care that it's the Patriots and they're good against quarterbacks or whatever. Joe Burrow had that in the second quarter, so that was nice overall. Yeah, I mean, like I said, overall in the week, 3-5-1, not a great week, but we're pushing along here well as we move into the final 2 weeks of the season. That said, we will definitely be in the betting game throughout the playoffs. We're not going to miss the playoffs here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be here. We're going to be throwing out some picks, but as we dive into week 17, what we do each and every week, we both share a pick back and forth. I believe we both have 5 picks this week for you guys, so that should be fun. Some of my picks make sense, and some of them just are my gut feeling. So that's one of my favorites. That's one of my gut feeling, and then it's like, oh well, that's why it was a gut feeling, not a good one. But that said, I am going to let Clarkson start us off with his first pick.
My first pick, I'm going to the Chiefs game. I've got Isaiah Pacheco over 57.5 rushing yards. I feel like his total is lower than it has been recently in recent weeks. It usually is in the mid to high 60s. I don't really know why he's getting. I think he's got 15 plus touches in like 6 straight weeks, at least 13 carries since week 10, and he's hit 57.5 rushing yards in 7 straight. So you combine that low total with the amount of run that he's getting since he became, the starting running back, quote unquote, because Jerick McKinnon is obviously getting most of the passing down work. I don't know. I feel like he hits this pretty easily. But yeah, Isaiah Pacheco over 57.5 rushing yards is my first pick of the week.
I agree with you. Yeah, that number seems rather low, especially looking at his numbers over the last couple of weeks. Even last week, I mean, just going for 58 still. I mean, yeah, this could be a good game too. Yeah,
I left that out, but
it'll hit. I mean, it would. Let's see here. Josh Allen over 1.5 touchdown passes against the Bengals. This one's on Monday night. Biggest game of the week, in my opinion. Huge game with massive playoff implications across the board. But Mac Jones plus the corpse of Tom Brady have thrown for 5 touchdown passes against the defense, against the Bengals defense in the last 2 weeks. Josh Allen has hit this number in 4 of the last 5 games. I think this is going to be a shootout. And if the Bills are going to win this football game or going to be in the football game at all, they're going to have to throw the football really well. I'm sure Allen will just go out there and rush for 7 touchdowns because that's what Jalen Hurts did to me like 2 weeks ago. But that said, I really think this is a slam dunk for me. Like I said, when you have Mac Jones and the ghost of Tom Brady throwing for 5 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks against your defense, I'm pretty positive that Josh Allen should be able to get 2 in there this week. So Josh Allen over 1.5 total touchdown passes.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because the Bengals have a fairly decent run defense. They're kind of like how the Titans were earlier this year. They're really good against the run, but they can't stop the passing game, and that's something that Josh Allen does really well. My second pick. Speaking of the ghost of Tom Brady, I'm going Panthers-Bucks under 40.5. The Panthers shocked everyone in their first meeting and won 21-3. So for those of you at home who can do basic algebra, that's 24 points. I don't know. The Panthers could come out and run all over the Bucks again, but I still don't see this game getting bigger than 21-14 or something. I think the Bucks probably win. just because they've been finding ways to win over the past couple of weeks. But I just can't see them scoring, a bunch of points just out of nowhere. So give me the Panthers Bucks under 40.5.
Yeah, it's been ugly outside of the Bengals game 2 weeks ago. Not just the Bengals. When you look at their home schedule, that number hasn't hit in 3 of the last 4 games at home for the Bucks. So that's a good one there. All right, I am going to go with one that this is one of those gut feelings, but also has a little bit of research behind it. I'm going Seahawks +3 against the Jets. The Seahawks and the Jets are coming into this game losing 5 of 6 games. Both of them are on the outside looking in their respective playoff races in the NFC and the AFC. This is one tidbit. Now, look, I know everybody's on the Mike White bandwagon and think he's the greatest, gift to the Jets, and Zach Wilson's the biggest problem in the world, and et cetera, et cetera. I understand all that. You know what I mean? I still believe in Zach Daddy Wilson. All right, but one tidbit that I really loved about this game is Mike White is 0-3 in road games in his career. He's 0-2 this year, 0-1 last year. For some reason, he struggles on the road. He's not as flashy on the road, I guess you can say. Seattle is one of the hardest places to play on the road. They are traveling cross country. I know the Seahawks are reeling, but I really feel like the Seahawks are going to try to come together and get it together. I have it +3. I probably plan to sprinkle some money on the money line because I feel like the Seahawks can control this game with Kenneth Walker. And give me the Seahawks +3 against the Jets this week.
I mean, I like that pick just for the fact that you're, betting against the Jets again. I think we really got away from the Lord's work when we were betting the Jets a ton.
Honestly, though.
But anyway, my next pick is Saquon Barkley over 77.5 rushing yards. He's only hit this number 2 in a row, but he's gone over this total in half the games he's played this year. The Colts are an absolute dumpster fire. I think, which is what I'm about to say is going to piss Ricky off, but I think the Giants get up early, get up quick, and then just feed Saquon Barkley and run away with this football game. I think Jim Irsay is finally realizing that Jeff Saturday should not have been hired as their head coach. But I think this one, I've said this about, every pick I've got. I think this pick hits pretty easily. I feel really good about it. Give me Saquon Barkley over 77.5 rushing yards.
I think one of the things that I noticed when I was looking at my picks this week was finding matchups that teams need to win the football games, right? You know what I mean? That's what I'm really looking for here. And when you're looking at like a Pacheco or a Saquon Barkley, both the Chiefs and the Giants need to win their football games this week in order to stay in afloat of the playoff race and or seeding of the playoff race. I was looking at it. I was looking at it when I was talking about during the fantasy football happy hour, but the Giants basically need to, they can win one, they can go 1-1 over the last 2 weeks and they'll be 9-7-1. And because of the tie, they're automatically into the playoffs because everybody below them will only be 9-8. So the Giants only need to go 1-1 over the last 2 weeks. So if they win this week, they're automatically into the playoffs. So it's a very big game. And that's where like I said, a lot of the things that I factor into my picks this week kind of factored into the teams that needed to win the most. That said, I am going to have back-to-back picks in the same game, but we'll go with the first one here first. The Las Vegas Raiders. There we go. I think it's like the 9th time I've done that this year.
Definitely.
All right. This is 1,000% me just going out on a whim with my gut and picking. All right. I've got the Raiders over 1.5 total team touchdowns. All right. I understand Jarrett Stidham is starting this week. I understand they're playing a 49ers defense that is very, very, very good at football. Their team is loaded on the offensive side of the football. I think Josh McDaniels is going to have this team ramped up and playing at a high level just based on all of the, chitter chatter for the week. That said, 2 touchdowns against this defense is probably something that, needs to be questioned. My thought process here. But we are talking about the Commanders. Commanders are coming off scoring, 2 touchdowns against this team. We're talking about, the Miami scored 2 touchdowns against this team. Now, don't get me wrong; they've only given up 2 touchdowns to opposing teams, twice since their bye week. So again, this is me betting with a gut, and throwing it out there that the Raiders will at least score 2 touchdowns this week and make me feel good about myself after. And make me feel good about my gut because I feel like it's going to happen. And I don't love the bet 100%, but I'm 98% in. Clarkson thought I was crazy last night when I was texting him that I love the Raiders. Don't get me wrong, I do love the Raiders at plus 10.5, but it's not one of my official picks. So
the Jared Stidham led Raiders.
I don't again, doesn't make any sense. But
hey, other teams have done well with former Patriot backup quarterbacks. So who knows?
Exactly.
My 4th pick, I'm actually taking a page out of Ricky's book and doing a 2-pick little parlay to try and get close to even money. This was at minus 105 when we finally got the props for this game last night. Ricky and I had actually planned on recording yesterday, but the reason why we didn't was because I wanted to do this pick and I didn't care how long we had to wait, whether it was today or tomorrow. Finally, the props came out for the Jags game, and the pick that I'm going to give you is Jags money line plus Travis Etienne over 54.5 rushing yards is minus 105. Same game parlay. Etienne's hit this total in 8 games this year, and the Jags are fighting for the division title. If they win this game, then I think the Titans game doesn't matter.
No, not true.
So even if they do win this game, or if
so
they need to win this game to stay alive in the division title race.
No, they need to win this game to stay alive in the playoff hunt. They can still, basically, as crazy as it sounds, if Miami, the Jets, and the Patriots all lose this week and the Jaguars win, the Jaguars can lose in week 18 to the Titans and still manage to get the 7 seed, but not win the division. But this game basically is irrelevant. That's why Henry really didn't play this week, because the Titans game didn't matter to them. So, yeah.
Right.
But they still need to win it just to stay intact because they can still get a playoff spot.
Yeah. Either way, Houston stinks. That's the other part of this. I mean, Etienne, what's really frustrating is that I bet, 3 or 4 different running backs to go over their total against Houston. And I think only one of them is hit because the first half of the season, people were just running wild on the Texans. But credit to Lovie Smith. I guess he's gotten that defense rolling. But Etienne, I mean, this is probably flexed down about 20 yards. I think his total, if you bet it just by himself, is 77.5, 78.5, something like that. But same game parlay, Jags money line plus Etienne over 54.5 rushing yards.
First off, I wanted to welcome you to the parlay club. Because it's something that I have figured out that I really love to do, because you can get some of these guys rushing numbers and or receiving numbers at a much lower number, and you just parlay them with another line and you get very excited because of the numbers that you end up getting with some of these picks. It's pretty crazy how you are able to do that. And it's something that I've realized that I've gotten, decent. I'm not great at it by any stretch of the imagination, but I've gotten decent at. That said, let's see here. I am going to go with my own parlay here. It's a number that I cannot believe that it's as low as it is. And that is George Kittle over 29.5 receiving yards plus Darren Waller over 14.5 receiving yards. This number gets you at minus 130. I understand, again, we're talking about Jarrett Stidham starting at the quarterback position this week, which I think is something that could either A, spark this offense, or it could basically make them go down the drain. But with that said, Darren Waller, all he needs to get is 15 yards. Are you kidding me? Like, that's insane. I feel like a young quarterback
one catch. That's all he needs. He can get that one catch.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about a guy that's literally averaging, 12 yards a catch, and over the last 2 weeks, he's averaging 15.5. So I feel like a security blanket for this guy, for Jarrett Stidham, is going to be Darren Waller across the middle. You know what I mean? He's going to need it against this team. And then, of course, on the flip side, getting George Kittle at 29.5 yards for a guy that has over 200 yards and 4 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks, and Deebo Samuel's out again this week. No brainer there for me with Kittle's number. Kittle's actual live number, I think, is like 60 some yards, I think, if I remember correctly, which is absolutely positively absurd. Because if you're getting this number and I'm pulling up right now as we speak, but if you could manage to get his number down, let's see here, Kittle 44.5. So you're getting 15 yards here on Kittle's number, and Waller's number is at an over-under of 28.5. So if you think about that for just a second from that perspective, you're getting 15 yards almost on both sides of this ball for each of these guys. And that means Vegas set their over-under at 28.5 because they think that they're even going to go over or under that number. Even if you get to 20 on Waller, even if you get to 30 on Kittle, this bet hits. You know what I mean? So it's like you're looking at it both ways. But I love this number a lot. This is one of my favorite bets. Really came close to being my lock, but I like my lock a little bit better because apparently I am tight end central this week because I just realized that I have my last 2 picks are all over the tight end position. I'm no longer the quarterback guy. I'm the tight end guy. But all right, we have reached our locks of the week.
You're just really jaded after last week and with Derek Carr. I understand, man. It's all good.
Tough battle, man. It's tough, man. Or Deshaun Watson has really just screwed my imagination of what a quarterback is.
Shit. Deshaun Watson. Oh my God. Remember when I picked him up in my fantasy league that you are an advisor on? And we were like, oh, this is going to be a 16-round keeper. It's going to be a beautiful pick. We're going to trade him because somebody is going to want him as their starting quarterback going into the playoffs. And he has just stunk out loud.
Yeah, he's been dog shit this year.
That being said, my lock of the week, I'm going to probably what I think is going to be the most fun game this week. They're playing in a dome, 2 bad defenses. There's going to be points all over the place, I think. My lock of the week is the Bears and the Lions over 51.5 points. Like I just said, both of these teams have bad defenses, and both teams can put up points if, things break right for them. I know the Bears didn't play well against the Bills last week, but it's the Bills. They have a good defense. They're playing, Josh Allen. Justin Fields couldn't stay upright, basically. I mean, they were just bringing pressure left and right.
He sucks.
And I know the Bears, unfortunately, are not going to hit their team total wins that Ricky is going to throw in my face whenever we do our last pod of the year, I assume. But all that being said, I just feel really, really good about this bet. I mean, the Lions could go out and score 50 on this Bengals defense themselves, or Bears defense themselves. Sorry. And Jared Goff looks like somebody's going to pay him some money to be their starting quarterback next year when the Lions draft Will Levis in the first round and cut him. He just seems like a Dan Campbell quarterback, don't you think?
Oh my God.
I don't know. I think that. But anyway, Bears, Lions, over 51.5. Lock it in.
Another thing of note for his bet here, I was taking a peek at it earlier. First off, this game is in Detroit, means it's inside the dome. That's great for this game, obviously. On top of that, this number has hit over 50, 52, I think it is, in 3 straight games at home. So, yeah, I like to lock it in. Chicago stinks. They have stink all year. Justin Fields has not been good, barring what everybody else has said. I understand he's looked good as a running back this year. He has not
Oh my
looked good as a
God.
quarterback this year. Okay. Has looked god awful, has single-handedly cost his team several games this year with late games interceptions. Say what you want about it. He looks good running the ball. He just looks awful. 90%
Hey,
of the
listen,
time when he
a
throws
lot
the
of
football.
a lot of those games where he lost the game for his team with interceptions, I looked at it and it was a lot of those games they had leads going late into the fourth quarter and their defense gave up points so that he has had to scramble around and throw the ball around, chuck it around to try and get back on top.
My biggest problem with young quarterbacks this year, if I've noticed with several of them, especially scrambling quarterbacks, is they hold on to the ball too long. Nobody in football is worse than holding on to the ball too long than Justin Fields. Throw the fucking ball away. It's not play for a different. It's like I've noticed this about scrambling quarterbacks, not just him, but a lot of them. It's like whenever you're trying to make a play, instead of making a play, sometimes it's okay to take a 3-yard sack versus a 15-yard sack after you run around scramble for 45 minutes. Or if you scramble and get out of it, throw the fucking ball away. What is wrong with these guys? Oh my goodness. It really pains me to watch something. It really pains me to watch Justin Fields. And then it pains me because everybody was like, he's the greatest gift to God. And then we all realize that that's Trevor Lawrence, who is one of the best quarterbacks in football. So one of them is one's going to be a great quarterback. The other one will probably be, stocking groceries at Walmart in 3 years. You let me know which one is which.
I don't
One of
think
them
that's
might be
gonna
playing in the
happen.
playoff. One of them will be playing probably in the playoffs this year. Hopefully, cross our fingers. The other one will probably never play in the playoffs.
The other one was taking 10 picks behind Zach Wilson.
So hey, well, you know what? They probably made the right choice because they both stink. So that said, we're gonna move on over to my lock of the week, which I love quite a bit. Maybe too much because I might bet the house on it. Just don't tell my wife. I am going to go Travis Kelce. This is another line that I love that you can flex down because I'm going to go with another parlay here. I'm going to get Travis Kelce at 59.5 receiving yards. And then I'm going to get the Chiefs at -2.5. Okay. So we're going to get Kelce at 59.5. I forgot what the total here is, but I'm going to get it for you guys in 1 second. We're gonna do this live on the show here. 59.5, and we're gonna get the Chiefs at -2.5, and that's gonna bring us down to -135. As you know, the Chiefs are favored by 12.5 in this game, so you're getting 10 points. And a team that played them pretty well a few weeks ago. That said, they still stink. And then you're going to get Travis Kelce at 73.5 or at 59.5 instead of his 73.5 total yards. Travis Kelce has hit this number 3 straight weeks. He did go 56, 57 back-to-back weeks a few weeks back. But the last game against Denver, he went 4 for 71. This man is getting 7+ targets in every game over the last 10 weeks, except for one game he had 6. This is a no-brainer. Damn, he had 17 targets against the Titans. Holy shit, that's a lot of targets. That's a lot of targets. Holy cow. Yeah, that just blew my mind. With that said, I think of the two things that I'm worried about the most, I'm more worried about the -2.5 than I am the Kelce number. Denver almost came back and got these guys a few weeks ago. But they didn't, obviously. It was 34-28, 30-24, 24-10. Oh shit. Over the last 3 weeks, teams have played them pretty well. But that said, this is Denver. This is Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson stinks. And the more they lose, the higher the Seahawks get a pick. And right now, the Seahawks would get the third overall pick because of Denver. So I'm rooting for them to continue to lose.
Good spot for
God.
Will Levis, maybe?
Yeah, Will Levis can sit behind Geno Smith for another year. Probably another quarterback that'll be bagging groceries in 3 years next to Justin Fields. I used to like Will Levis, and then he played quarterback this year, and it was just like, what did I see about this guy that was
Hey,
actually good?
he's had a broken foot this whole year.
Well,
Played with a steel plate in his foot.
apparently he's been blind this year because the way he's been throwing has been all over the place too. But yeah, Kelsey over 59.5 plus the Chiefs minus 2.5. That's a parlay there at my lock of the week. Before we go, like we do each and every week, I'm going to let Clarkson have the floor first. We're going to share our 5 picks of the week. You have the floor, Mr.
Excuse me. Sorry. My first pick of the week was Isaiah Pacheco, over 57.5 rushing yards. He's hit this total in 7 straight, and he's had at least 13 carries since week 10. The volume's there. The total is low. Give me Pacheco over 57.5 rushing yards. My second pick, Panthers Bucks under 40.5. Panthers beat the Bucks 21-3 in their first meeting. I think that score is probably going to be close. I think, the Bucks might score another touchdown or two, but probably going to end up being 21-14, 20, 24-10, something like that. That total is going to be low. Saquon Barkley over 77.5 rushing yards. It's only hitting 2 straight, but he's hit it at least 50% of the games of this year. My fourth pick is parlay, like how Ricky normally does, at minus 105. It's Jags money line plus ETN over 54.5 rushing yards. I learned that Jags, this game doesn't really matter for the division, but it does matter for the playoff race. And ETN has hit this total in 8 games this year. And my final pick is going to be what I think will be the most fun game to watch this year or this week. It's going to be Bears Lions over 51.5. It's my lock. 2 bad defenses in a dome. Points. Lock it in.
I like that. Points. I'm a big fan of I'm a big fan of points. I'm a huge fan of it, honestly. It's a big week that I'm relying heavy on. Speaking of points, I'm about to go over my pick, and I'm going to need lots of points because I got some crazy picks here. But all right, so that said, my picks of the week are as follows. Give me Josh Allen over 1.5 total touchdown passes against the Bengals. Give me the Seahawks +3 against the Jets. Give me the Raiders over 1.5 total team touchdowns, and then give me Waller over 14.5 yards and Kittle over 29.5 yards. Parlay together. And then my last pick of the week is a parlay Travis Kelce over 59.5 yards plus the Chiefs minus 2.5, and that's my lock of the week. Any parting thoughts here before we head for the sidelines?
No, it's just good to get back on a mic with you. I know we've missed the last couple of weeks, but my brother was in town the week before last, and then Christmas was last weekend. So, and we had an unusual snowstorm for Christmas in Nashville. So we were all hunkering down and trying to stay warm. But anyway, it was good. It was good to get back on the pod.
Yeah, as we were having this conversation, I had a little bit of fun for you guys at home. And if you parlay all of our picks together this week, you get it at plus 23,000. I highly recommend throwing some coin on that. Last week I hit the most insane bet of my life, and I didn't share that bet with my buddy, and he's mad at me still over it. Not to mention any names, that would be Clarkson. It is crazy. I did hit that parlay. It was so stupid. I bet 20 cents on a 6 touchdown parlay, won $110, but it broke my heart because if I would have just thrown a fucking dollar on it, I would have $500. You know what I mean? But I think what would have made me really mad is, and I think back about this now, this is not the reason why I didn't share the pick. I threw the picks in there just right before kickoff, but I would have been so mad if you would have thrown a $5 on that and won $2,500 while I threw 20 cents on it. You know what I mean? It would have been oh my God. That said,
it'd have been nice.
It would have been nice, right? That's what my wife said. Why didn't you bet more on it?
But at least you did. I was jokingly asking for a Venmo, and Ricky actually did hit me with a Venmo off of it. So
go buy some beer on me. You know what I mean? I loved it.
Yeah.
That said, make sure to follow Clarkson on Twitter at Chris Clarkson 91. Follow myself at Ricky Blair _. Make sure to check out the Music City Drive-In for all the articles and reviews. We will be back next week at some format, talking Week 18. And then, of course, throughout the playoffs, we still plan on recording because there'll be plenty to bet on, especially when you're talking about two guys that bet more props than they do actually money lines or over-unders for the most part. But thanks for joining me this week, Clarkson, and we'll talk to you guys
Absolutely.
next week.
Catch you later.